George in Tampa, you're in. Hey, George, how are you?
They're the best you can buy. You get T-bones, they're sealed up individually. Like
George,
that.
you're on the air.
Put the boxes away, just the steaks. I'm going to show you the whole thing and give it to you. The real
George in the middle of a sales pitch right now.
Film, they're frozen solid. You don't have to worry about it. These are New York strips.
He's selling frozen T-bones. This is incredible.
It's great on the grill, but they're doing a big Labor Day party for the bank. So they pay big.
Steaks for a Labor Day party. That's outstanding. How about hamburger?
No bone at all. Look how prime those are.
Bone in or bone out?
Well, that's what I asked you.
You got any pork chops?
No, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I'll give them away.
George, how about dogs? You got any hot dogs?
Horns. You need a steak burger.
How much for the box of everything?
Are you Miss Kaufman? Yeah.
George, you got any like a cheesecake, like Omaha steaks? You got any desserts? Any frozen cookies?
Don't brag about what the price is. Could you help me out? This was a really good deal.
Bro,
Let me show you.
are you selling steaks door to door? Because if so, that's a hustle.
She pays $3.40.
Dude, if you pick up the phone right now, I'll buy the whole car.
I paid $2 a steak unit. They're 70 cuts.
George, I can't believe it. Bro, you're on the air right now.
I'm charging you just for $2.
George! George!
And you're from Michigan, you said?
George!
I'm from Illinois. Best you can buy.
This is incredible.
I'll taste it up nice and neat, and you don't need cash.
George has got one on the hook, man. George is not giving up that sale. George is about to close.
Yeah, basically it's $4.50 normally. I'll just do it for $1.70 for you, and you can do a check.
See, that woman has hit George with no less than 5 objections, and he keeps coming. Stay in it, my man.
Can you hold this phone real quick for me?
George.
Is it more in the trunk, or where do you want them?
George.
Here's a pen for you.
You did not just ask her to hold the phone. George, is the client holding the phone?
What's up, brother?
George! Is that you?
How you doing?
My man, you just conducted that entire sales call on the show.
You heard it?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Well, Dan Smack, I want to thanks for the vine. Now, Child
Hold on, George. Did she buy or not? I thought you were great, man, the way you hung in there and you managed every single objection. Did she buy?
You heard? Of course she bought it.
What are you selling?
Selling Omaha steaks, brother.
Omaha steaks, baby.
Yeah.
What do you got, man? Give me something. Give me a pitch.
How you doing, sir? I don't mean to disturb you. I just had a delivery with Judy. Do you talk to her at all? She had ordered the Omaha steaks again, and she had a case I couldn't fit in the side-by-side freezer that she has in the garage. You know what those are? They come in the boxes. They're $10 steaks. I'll charge you $2.
George, I appreciate your sincerity. Sir, I am a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian? Well, I got a 50-pound carrot in the back of the freezer. You want that?
Great.
You're a vegetarian. I mean, somebody in your family eats beef, right, brother? Come
there
on.
you go. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's a salesman right there. George, you can sell some steaks. I'm not going to worry about you. So what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, Child Nation here checking in a report from the Bronx. So we had, we're going to hear old Blue Eyes saying start spreading the news last night, but it's all good. We're still up 7 games, a landslide with 30 games left. If we tank this lead, I will put the New York logo on my R's and streak all over Fenway Park, okay? Now, I know Yankee fans has 26 rings, but you always say that. Ha, 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 ha. Please. This is the 21st century. The curse is dead. The boss is now a softie, and he's comatose, pretty much. Now, let me ask you one question. How come Bridget Moynihan named Tom Brady's son with the last name Moynihan? Why is that? He's just trying to say, give me back my son.
George, you are a beauty, bro. You got in a ha 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 ha. You always say that. And a give me back my son. I'll tell you what, George. Please, you got that in. Hey, pick him back up, Stu. Find out how they can get in touch with George if he wants to sell them steaks. That was incredible. He literally, that entire sales call was on the air, and then he just picked up the phone, kind of gathered himself, and just went into his, ha, 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 you always say that. Psst, please, give me back my son. You heard that? Oh, no, I heard the whole thing, George. Really? Well, anyway, listen up, Chowds. Ha, 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 you always say that. Psst, please. Travis gets me Omaha steaks every single year as a Christmas gift, and they're always good. George, man, he was working it, too. Travis wants to make sure that he gets credit for the cheesecake sampler as well. I thought I'd shake that guy with the I'm a vegetarian rap. Clearly, that didn't bother him. I got a 50-pound carrot in my trunk, and certainly somebody in your family eats beef. Hey, George, I'm going to do this for you right now. If you would like to get in contact with George about his meat, go to goodearthfoods.net. goodearthfoods.net. Don't be calling me and looking for some love for your product or your company. I'm just feeling that for George. Because George had a snappy little comeback when I said I'm a vegetarian. He said, oh, yeah, I got a 50-pound carrot in my trunk for you. I'll take 3. What a weird day this is. Can't say it's been too often that I've gone to somebody and heard a 3-minute sales pitch. He was working it, wasn't he? You know, you've always heard my rant on sales guys. That's why I'm giving him love. I respect it. That guy's selling meat out of his car. Probably door to door. I mean, anybody else would have been like, you know what? You don't eat meat. You don't want my meat. You're not interested in meat. Fine. There's 8,000 other doors in this neighborhood I can knock on. Not George, man. He was locked in. Way to go, George. Here's one. Give George some coffee. Coffee's for closers. He clearly understands ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing. First prize, Cadillac. Second prize, set of steak knives. Always be closing. Attaboy, George. Well done. All right, I'm going to take a timeout. George may have ripped Chauncey's spot, but Jay Stu's still looking. Stay tuned. We'll come right back.
You're listening to The Jim Rome Show.
Last segment, we have rescheduled Chauncey Billups. Jay Stu found him, but we had to reschedule that. Got to give it up to George. That was tremendous. For so many different reasons, but mostly because the guy was just kick-ass as a salesman. Those of you in sales know you've heard me do my bits and my rants on salespeople and the job itself. I used to sell. That's why I'm a talk show host. It's easier. Sales was really hard. It's a hard job. It's a thankless job. It's a kick in the ass job. So the George hung in there and just was working it. That's the way you go after it. Loved it. Dear Jim, everybody in this office thinks I'm crazy. I had to slip under the desk in my cube because I couldn't stop laughing over that call. Angie from Evanston. Thank you, Angie. Hey, Jim, don't make too much fun of George. He gets coffee. Coffee's for closers. ABC, always be closing. Yours, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. Ben in Jacktown. I'm not making fun of him at all. That was macho. Like I said, he quickly managed my objection. He hung in with her. He not only hung in with her, he was on the offense the entire call. I loved it when he asked her to hold the phone. Like he was going into the trunk. Hey, can you hold my phone, please? Can you hold my phone? I'm on hold to be on a sports talk show while I'm trying to sell you meat. Would you mind holding my phone, Miss Prospect? Hey, Rome, coffee's for closers. George needs some coffee. Regards, Dave in Boulder. Hey, Jim, the George phone call. Wow. Rack him. Huge call of the day. OMG, that was hilarious. Chad in Pensacola. Rome, George is now the greatest caller ever. War Omaha Steaks, the only good thing to come out of Nebraska. Robert in Detroit. Dear Jim, did you notice that George's voice changed from Sales George to Clone George? Nick in Vancouver. Rome, that was a hell of a sales call from George. That's the spirit of a great U.S. American. Jack in Dallas. Rome, steaks. Awesome. That man deserves a pink Cadillac. Signed, Mary Kay. More of on-air sales calls. Hey, Warren, I can't really plan those. That just kind of happened. That was organic. Hey, Jim, I'm in sales, and George is a freaking closer. How did he close that deal and instantly shift into his smack? Then he runs out a few classic jungle lines, and he crushes your vegetarian objection. Poor George in the smack off. That is so true. That's great. I got a feeling he's heard that vegetarian rap before, but he did crush me with it. Yeah, I got a 50-pound carrot for you, and don't tell me there's not somebody in your family who eats meat. That was strong. Hey, Jim, why can't all the callers be that entertaining? What a call. Great job, George. Please don't be a stranger to the show. With all the crap going on in sports right now, we need